So, how do we use spirituality to stop us ruining our own coaching business success? A really good question. You might think it's a bit of an odd one. Well, I've been in the entrepreneurial space for a long time, 20 years now. And over that course, it's not been an easy road on every occasion. I've had failures in between, hard times, rocky roads, slipped into debt £30,000 twice during that time, a nasty divorce. There's always rocks in the road. Now, when I met my husband, Stephen Sanderson, many moons ago, he introduced me to spirituality. And at the time, I was a bit of a skeptic. I didn't like going to these spiritual evenings. That was a bit weird. But over time, learning sort of spiritual techniques, I realised there was something else out there apart from the physical world that we lived in. And I realised that I was blocking my own success. And I can see now clearly how others do as well, especially if you're running a coaching business and maybe it's not quite where you want it to be. Maybe every day seems to be kind of, you don't feel as if you're progressing, or if you've got to if you've got to a situation where you've made it a full-time job, you're finding it hard to scale. Whatever situation you're in, maybe you haven't even quit your day job yet and you're trying to get into coaching to quit your day job, do this as a fulfilling and full-time career. Well, I do get those blockages. I've been there so many times before. So when I started to practice these spiritual techniques, I found life got easier, the path seemed smoother, and I wasn't so hard on myself. I wasn't self-sabotaging. So what it enabled me to do is cope with failure. It enabled me to listen to my inner self. So I'm just going to take you through a few techniques. Now, before I do want to say that we are running a workshop on the 16th of March, that's 2022, 7:30 p.m. time. And that's going to be taking place in my group, which is called Get Clients and Scale for Coaches. And I do attract a lot of life coaches. So if you're a life coach, it's going to be awesome, or any coach, but I do tend to attract life coaches. But I do have other coaches on board. But if you want to come and join the group, we're running an event in there on the 16th of March, 7:30 p.m. And my husband will be on there with me, covering certain techniques that you can implement that will really make you leapboard your success. It kind of clears blockages in your brain. And that is the biggest cause of failure, is just not believing in yourself, not knowing which direction to turning, not trusting your intuition. So I'm just going to tell you a few things that really helped me along the way. Now, the first thing, it sounds a bit cliche, but I did actually practice gratitude, because in our lives, we can just take everything for granted. We're always wanting more, always want the better car, the better house. We always want. But when we practice gratitude, and I do this every day, I look at my 3 kids, how wonderful they all are. I look at, a beautiful house we live in. I look at the area I live in. I look at my husband. I look at what I've got, right down to my dog, who I love, and think, oh my God, I brought that all into my life. Instead of focusing on that hasn't worked, it's not fair, why does everybody else seem to be cracking online instead of me? Let's just focus on what we actually have got in our lives. And it can be as simple as anything. It could just be the computer you're working on, really grateful to have that computer. Now, I do this every day because it puts you in a different mind space. Instead of self-sabotage, self-destruction, that you're not good enough and, we need more. And that in itself can damage a business, because you're constantly trying almost too hard and getting nowhere, instead of sort of chilling back a bit and seeing what you've already got. So that's the first one that I really have practiced every day for many years. Now, the second one that I practice is literally knowing that we are sort of guided by a higher power. Now, this sounds a bit weird and wonderful. We don't have to believe in God, but when you realise there's a higher power guiding you, it makes life feel a lot better. You're not on your own. And sometimes if you sit really quietly, I find that when I'm either going to bed or waking up, you're in that sort of trance state. And it's that's a lot of the time I get a huge inspiration. Things just come to me. Answers come to me. It's almost like the spiritual power is there. And I always liken it to my mum being in heaven and looking down and giving me the answers in a spiritual guidance way, which she always did throughout my childhood. So it's almost like a help from the spiritual planes, because we do not live in like a two-dimensional world. We are living in a world that's not just in a physical form. So when you calm down, when you calm down, meditate. My form of meditation is probably different to others. I don't sit there meditating for half an hour. I tend to meditate a bit when I go to bed and when I wake up. That's my time, that's my space. And let the ideas flow into you. And then when you do, you almost follow your intuition, because I was really bad at following my gut, following my intuition for many, many years. I always did what I felt I had to do. In jobs I got into, in businesses I ran, I got stuck in them because I thought I've got to do this. This brings money in, but I'm not enjoying it. So it was only last year that I had a major health scare, 2 operations. We shut a business down that we actually really hated, and it was a massive risk, huge risk. All our friends had crazy thing to do, absolutely crazy. But we knew deep down inside that was the best thing for our health, our mental health, our inner peace. And we have not looked back. And I think people are quite surprised around us that we followed our intuition. And that was, I believe, come from a spiritual plane that gave us that strength to do that. So in your business, take those calm moments and really feel what's inside and what is right for you. Just because you see everybody else doing something online, take what you've learned and manipulate it to your own. So I've got coaches and they're smashing it left, right and centre, but maybe there are ways, may not 100% work for me. So I take the bits I want and I use it for my own. I learn and I develop my own methods that will work for me. So it's following that intuition and that strength inside, that you know what works for you. You don't have to follow what everybody else does 100% down to a T, because that's not going to work. We need to trust our own selves, and that definitely comes from a spiritual plane. So the last one is really just staying calm in the zone throughout the day and taking moments to just take a break from work and switch off, go and drive somewhere, go for a coffee and just literally listen to yourself, because sometimes we get so ingrained in what we're doing at our desk that we just have to take that time out. Now, what really helped me the other day was my husband did some angel cards on me, and I've never really done much angel cards, but it really came out with a positive income, which then makes you feel that there's even better things in the pipeline. So on the 16th of March, Tuesday the 16th of March, my husband's going to go through some techniques. He is a master NLP practitioner, a psychic practitioner, and he has got some awesome techniques he wants to show you that really will help you on a daily basis. Just overcome those blockages, overcome that self-sabotage, because let's face it, being an entrepreneur and being a coach or in any business can be really tough. It can be really tough, and we can give in. We can absolutely destroy ourselves mentally and tell ourselves all sorts of stories that just aren't there really. They're not. They're just so things we make up in our head. So he will enable you to sort of change the way you see and think about the world, about your business, which really does open up doors, okay? And so being a psychic practitioner, he's going to really, really bring these points home to you on the 16th of March. Now, if you're watching, all you need to do to get into that workshop is just click the link, join the group, and it's literally there in the events section. Just press go to the events tab in the group. Just literally press going, and I will reach out anyway, because I'll be reminding everybody that workshop's there. The other thing you can do is just drop me a friend, add me as a friend on Facebook, and I will reach out and just DM me the word spiritual workshop, and I will reach out and make sure that you get that replay, or I'll let you give you the link so you can join us. Now, if this date's gone and you're watching this and we are no longer in March 2022, you can still go into the group, and that workshop is under the guide section. So if you're watching this afterwards, go to the guide section in the group and you'll see spiritual workshop and you can access it there. So thank you so much for listening. And I wanted to drop on because lastly, we are so into our businesses. We think it's all about tools, techniques, strategy, working 24/7. But really sometimes we have to think that isn't the whole story. In fact, quite often when we work like mad and get nowhere, it's because we're not really using any form of spirituality in our lives to make us see life differently, which then releases a lot of barriers in your brain, which propels you on to the next level. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully we'll see you on March the 16th, 7:30 p.m. time, UK time. Take care. Thanks for listening.